Meeting on the West Rock Hill Township Board of Supervisors. First order is called to order, pledge of allegiance. If you all stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our next section of business is taking public comment on the agenda items. Make sure to go to the microphone, otherwise the sound system doesn't really pick you up.
This microphone I don't think works. If you want to come over here and talk into mine. Greg, can you turn mine on then?
Yeah. Harry Lowell, 521 Thousand Acre Road. I see on the agenda you're having bids for blacktopping. I was wondering if Thousand Acre Road was on that list to be blacktopped.
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Well, there's some issues on Thousand Acre Road that need to be addressed if you're going to blacktop it. And I'd be more than willing to meet with the engineer and show him the places. And I am familiar, as you know, with working with roads. So I just don't want to see money thrown away, which could be used maybe for something better in the township.
Okay, thank you.
Richard Koki, 1221 Lawn Avenue. And I guess on things that are about to end, is there any update on the Lawn Avenue Heritage or select properties planned for the development there on Lawn Avenue?
We are. There is no new update.
Okay.
But Greg and I were just talking today, and he asked me if I would prepare an update for all of the parties so that you can see what has and hasn't happened, which is basically nothing's happened.
Okay.
But we should stay in better touch with you, and
Okay.
we're resolved to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other public comments on the items on the agenda? That does include pointing out to us that we should be looking for something, or if there's a point that's of interest for you, but oh.
Kevin Dietz, Ridge Valley Road, 1420. I'm here to talk about you guys are talking about the Holiday House doing a referendum. Before you guys think about voting on this, I honestly believe you really need to think about this strong and hard, because the Holiday House is only open 95 days a year. And the amount of money that they're asking for is totally uncalled for, because one, they're a joint rec authority. I was the chairman there. I know it's all volunteer, but there's more money we can spend than $3 million for something that's open 95 days a year. If that's the case that you guys are thinking about doing this referendum, I strongly agree not to do it. And I will be one of the first people to be there at the polls to vote against it, because this is ridiculous. There's other money we can spend in this township for something that's open 365 days a year. So the other thing is too, is that, there's a lot of residents here that are struggling, and to raise their taxes 50% is ridiculous. So I strongly hope you guys think about this before you vote on it. All right. Thanks, guys.
Any other public comment? Okay, closing public comment. We get to the consent agenda. Having read the agenda, I had no questions.
Would you like me to read the treasurer's report?
Yes, please.
Okay, the treasurer's report as of June 30th. The general fund, $1,565,631.83. Highway aid, $228,720.46. Open space, $1,488,200.49. The park fund, $99,864.34. The equipment fund, $32,476.60. Highway capital, $141.36. Street light, $40,886.66. General fund reserve, $494,006.93. the American Rescue Plan funds, $530,032.03. Open Space Manderfield, $41,646.58. Sewage Maintenance, $210,274.39. Stormwater Fund, $13,596.38. And the escrow funds, $2,521,945.11.
Okay.
No questions, no comments.
Nope, I actually make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
No second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tonight, we have no confirmed appointments, which moves us up to the committee reports, which is Park and Rec.
How you doing, Dave?
Good, I'm doing good. Park and Rec, what's not to love about it? All right. I keep it short and simple. Just a reminder about September Fest, the last Sunday in September, September 29th, from noon to 4, right over there at James Memorial. We have a ton of events scheduled for the day. We got to thank all the sponsors and the volunteers that are going to be there helping us and bringing that event to us. It's going to be bigger than ever. And a reminder, Ferris and Fifi, if you don't know Ferris and Fifi, Google them. They're the Iron Pigs mascots. They're phenomenal. They'll be here for the kids to see, and I love it. I get pictures with them. And it's a great day. Good food trucks. I've got 2 food trucks coming. Heady Train. We got tons of events. So come on, stop by. It's 4 hours. You'll enjoy it. Bring your grandkids. Bring your kids. As being a big kid, just stop on by. And then we have Feature Film and a Fire, Transylvania 3, October 12th. So that's going to start at dusk. And it should be a good day because it's a good movie and we're going to have good weather. Fingers crossed. That is all I got today.
Thank you. How are the new trees doing?
They are doing good.
Secondly, someone from the Historical Society asked me to thank you.
Absolutely.
Use of the fire pit.
Absolutely.
Make a motion to accept the Park and Rec report as presented.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, moving along to Chief.
I don't get to be this close to you usually, so. All right, I have the June 2024 activity report for the Pennington Regional Police Department. The department responded to 720 calls for service in the month of June. 326 of those calls were in East Rock Hill Township. 393 of them were in West Rock Hill Township. And the remaining 9 calls were assisting our neighboring jurisdictions. The department handled 18 traffic crashes for the month of June. 9 were reportable, 9 were non-reportable, 7 were in East Rock Hill, and 11 were in West Rock Hill. The reported crimes for the month, 16 crimes against property, 3 crimes against persons, 1 crime against society, and 5 Group B offenses, which are your more minor offenses. The reported crimes included 2 DUIs or a DUI crash in East Rock Hill Township, 2 thefts in East Rock Hill Township, 1 criminal mischief, 2 trespassing complaints, an ordinance violation, and a protection from abuse order violation. In West Rock Hill Township, 1 hit and run, 2 simple assaults, 2 criminal mischiefs, 3 reports of fraud, 1 report of harassment, 4 thefts, and 1 trespassing complaint. In the month of June, we filed 7 criminal charges, 1 DUI, 2 simple assaults, 2 harassments, 1 protection from abuse order violation, and 1 driving under suspension for under DUI for their 3rd offense. And then other police activities, 201 traffic enforcement details. We issued 102 traffic citations, 109 traffic warnings, conducted 2 school checks, 49 business checks, and officers participated or conducted 161 hours of training in June. So far for the year, we have 4,336 calls for service, 160 traffic accidents, 152 reported criminal offenses, 296 criminal charges were filed, and the officers participated or conducted 862 hours of training. That would be your June police activity report.
Thank you, Chief.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If you sort of like to respond, The senior that was missing, and I saw it in one of your reports, that was traced by the license plate reader. Could you just talk to that and how that works? Because the person was from up here but found in another jurisdiction, right?
Okay, so throughout Bucks County, there's numerous intersections where there's license plate readers.
We have them here, right?
Yeah, we have 25 cameras at 7 different intersections. We got that funding through a grant for Pennsylvania Crime and Criminal Delinquency last year, or actually 2 years ago now. So that system's all throughout the county. The officers can access a database, punch in the license plate, and you can track down where the car's been. And fortunately for us, we were able to track it down in Falls Township, and then I believe Northampton Township, we were able to locate it. So it's a great piece of technology. We use it a lot in criminal investigations, and we also use it.
So we can't get away with
to find
anything.
missing people. You get away with it. You just need to use someone else's car. I should have said that in public meeting.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I have no questions. Good job, chief.
Excellent job.
for the
Thank you.
report. I'll entertain, I'll make a motion. I will make a motion to accept the chief's report as presented.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye. I did want to quickly thank Chief also for, I know, I'm now counting up, I think we're up to our 3rd or 4th new telephone pole along Ridge Road because somebody else is off the road again. But thank you for the enforcement. We're trying to calm everybody down. The next appointment report is the Joint Rec Authority, which is me.
Might as well stay right here.
I can.
Yep. You can use your microphone then.
Yeah.
Yep. Instead of Mary's. Okay, Joint Rec Authority met for July 2024, came to order 7 o'clock, approved minutes of the June meeting, minutes and financials. During the public comment, we had some questions on what are the plans for the future plans for the concrete pad, which is up near where we now have the new volleyball courts. That is going to be in for a pavilion, looking out over the pool and then looking down over the parking area. So right now what we're working on membership IDs and swim badges. That's taking a little bit longer than expected. For our fundraising updates, our member Roseanne Davis came up. Our total numbers are now up to about $20,000 that has been raised to support Holiday House Pool from dine-in donates, from other donations, from some business donations. So we are seeing, it's great to see that much support for the pool coming in small amounts from raffles. You make 800 here, we make dine-in donates, but it's nice to see we're actually getting up into the 5 figures with donations. Mr. Krathhamel gave the report for pool maintenance that as of right now, all of the to-do list is taken care of. The pool pump filters have been running smoothly, and the water loss that we're seeing turns out to be about what you expect from just evaporation because it's been a really hot summer. So there are a couple times we have come in, you see the water down, and it's like, nope, it's not leaking, it's evaporating, which was the first thing you always worry about when you walk into the pool and see that it's sitting a little low. We're working on some donor and appreciation and supporter appreciation boards, which will come in when you first walk into Holiday House. There's an open gateway with entrance, so we're getting a plaque similar to what we have in the back. Oh, same idea as what we have in the back of this room. We're taking and thanking the people who have taken their time to really work on helping out the pool. Looked into some real estate issues and then had to go into some of the other issues, which is security, since there was a drowning at Liberty Lakes about a week in Mount Carmel, New Jersey. So we had a lot of people who were double checking, like, yes, we have lifeguards. Yes, we do have clear sight lines. That's one of the benefits of having the old style pool. You can see pretty much everywhere. But we're glad to see how quickly how quickly our guards picked up on whenever we've had problems. We are working on the August 2nd for movie and for Flicks and Float. So we're looking at $3 per individual, $10 for the family. And then working on the appreciation picnic for volunteers, which will be August 14th. Rain date of August 19th, going from 6 to 9 o'clock. And if you've never, it'll be a great way of actually putting the full pool to use because we have enough lights at night that it makes a really good location, makes a really good event space. And we're hoping that some of the donors will also be interested in using this as an event space so that it's not just used part of the year. Same way with working on ball fields, which we've been looking into and trying to make as much use out of the property that is already there. And that's the conclusion of my report.
Okay, I'll make a motion, or wait a minute.
Just say, are there any comments, questions?
I don't have any questions or comments regarding it. Good job, Hal. Thank you.
Then I will entertain a motion.
Yep, I'll make the motion to accept the report for the Joint Rec Authority as
I'll
presented.
second that report.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we now get to our tax collector's report.
Oh, Suzanne.
Okay, for our monthly taxes for the month of July, annual taxes, I've collected $5,088.74, $80.36 in 2024 interim taxes, and 0 streetlight tax. Just want to let everyone know that the school taxes have been issued July the 1st. They are due in discount by August 31st. And if anyone has any questions or concern, they can call me directly.
Thank you.
That's
Okay,
Well done. Thank you.
Yes, already see that you already see the tax bill in the mail, so another really went out. Okay, early.
I'll make a motion. We accept Suzanne's report as presented.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Suzanne. And engineer's report, Mr. Balla.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item we had on the report is the Guy Huebner lot line adjustment plan. And before we get really started with that, I just wanted to clarify for the board's sake. This month's plan status letter had a notation near this project that it was the review period was going to expire in August. The applicant has provided an extension today, a 90-day extension, so that's no longer a concern. We have a representative here tonight for the project, Rick Mast, and why don't you give us a little overview, Rick?
That microphone, if you don't mind.
Good evening, everybody. And as Steve mentioned, my name's Rick Mast. We prepared the plan tonight. And it's a fairly simple plan. It's basically a lot line adjustment between the North American Draeger property, NAD Inc. That property is 64 acres today. And the Guy Huebner Inc. property, which is the former M&M Quarry property. That property is 48 acres today. It's 4.25 acres that we're swapping. So North American Draeger property will be about 60 acres subdivision. The Guy Huebner property will be about 52 acres after the subdivision. There's no other construction proposed, has nothing to do, just to preemptively state this, nothing to do with reopening the quarry or anything like that. That quarry is done. It's going through a closure process and a reclamation process. We did present the plan to the Planning Commission. They recommended approval of the plan. We also, by certified letter, notified all the abutting property owners. And to my knowledge, we didn't receive any comments.
Did you, Greg?
And that's it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to.
Are all the items in the April 4th, 2024 win letter will comply?
They are.
Okay, that was going to be my only question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, it's still your subject.
That's always good. I have no further questions.
Okay. With that, I'll make a motion that we move forward with this lot line adjustment approval.
I will second. And all those in favor? Aye.
All right, thank you. Just one quick question. Would we appear for the resolution or is? Okay.
The solicitor will prepare the draft resolution, send it to you or your representative from the applicant. And if they acknowledge that they accept it, then
Okay.
no need to attend the next meeting.
Thank you very much.
Just one question before we move off of this topic, Mr. Chairman. In the waiver request letter, there's partway widening curb and sidewalk, which understanding that it's a lot line change. is fine for waiting. I just don't know, and maybe it is a question for Steve, is there a fee in lieu of associated with that waive?
As I recall, you had asked for it to be deferred as opposed to waived to address at any future subdivision or development of the property.
Yes.
That's
and
what the request was for.
As we stated in our waiver request letter, they are deferrals for those improvements. And then we recognize as well that if there's any development that occurs in the future on this tract, that's all back on the table.
Then I would recommend that we not only do a approval resolution on this, but also an agreement to accept the conditions, with that being a condition in there that can be recorded so that future property owners have notice of that.
Good idea, Mary. Very good idea. And if I need to amend the, my motion, I will do that to include that, okay? So my motion has been amended to include that in there. Because if someone does buy that property, they need to know that that's part of the agreement.
Okay, with that amendment, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then the next item I had was paving, 2024 paving bids. If you recall, we did two different contracts for 2024. So the first one is our sort of standard overlay program.
Sorry.
No problem. We split that into a base bid and an alternate bid. So Maisie Road, I want to mix these up. Maisie Road and Augustine Road were in the base bid. And Thousand Acre Road was alternate one. So with the combined bids, with the base plus alternate one, we received three bids: Blooming Glen Contractors, Highway Materials, and James D. Morrissey. And the low bidder for the combined project was Highway Materials at a total of $388,633.50. So if you're inclined to award both the base bid and the alternate, we would recommend conditional approval of Highway Materials subject to receipt of bonds and insurance and the other contract requirements.
I was gonna ask you that. All paperwork and stuff is legit.
The paperwork that was required with the bid was received and is satisfactory, and there's additional paperwork that they have to provide after the fact.
Steve, would you repeat which roads are going to, or
That includes Maisie Road,
Maisie?
Augustine Road, and Thousand Acre Road.
Okay.
And Thousand Acre Road includes repainting the center line.
And
Right.
addressing the comments that were brought up at the beginning of the meeting.
Well,
Well,
they weren't, that wasn't in the bid though. I mean,
No, but
this
is the paving
deal with
bid.
that with staff and make sure that we
right.
don't have any issues.
okay, so he needs to.
Well, therefore, I would make a motion or entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
so, and all those in favor of the accepting the bids? Aye,
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
thank you.
And the second bid was strictly for Old Mill Road reconstruction. As you all know, that road is in poor condition. And that's being nice. In this case, we will mill in place the entire road, then proof roll it for base repairs. We have costs in to excavate out, put fabric down, reestablish the base in the bad areas, and then come back and do 5 inches of paving over that. So we're not losing any road. We're going to use the existing road, grind that up for a base or a sub base, and then we're putting 5 inches of paving on top of that road.
I just want to clarify something. It's not the entire road.
It is from the county bridge
Correct. I wanted to make sure that
north.
that you were,
to-
that you stated that in a public meeting. It's not the entire road. It's from the bridge north to
Forest.
Forest Road.
Right.
Correct.
The lower part of the road was done some years back.
Yep. When
when-
category, yes.
Exactly.
Thank you, Steve.
There's some additional work that'll get done, including tree trimming. We're gonna do our best to trim a lot of those trees along probably 2/3 of the road to try and open that up some, get a little sun in there and dry that area out. That's also the same area you let under a separate contract, a culvert replacement. So that'll be done prior to or in coordination with this
Yes.
project. In any event, we had the same three contractors, Bloom and Glen Contractors, Highway Materials, James D. Morrissey. However, on this project, Bloom and Glen Contractors was the low bidder at $264,925. And again, I would recommend that any approval be subject to receipt of bonds and insurance in accordance with the contract documents.
Okay, I'd like to make a comment regarding this particular project. As you all know, I've been trying to get this road repaired for several years. And I have stressed my concern and my opinion of using the ARP money for that road. So I would like to use what is needed of that, the 265,000, what did you say, 260?
264,925.
Okay, I would like that road, that project to be paid for out of the ARP money. That way it benefits all residents and it gets us extra paving done in the township. We do have to take action and spend that money anyway by a certain amount of time. And as we all know, Old Mill Road is a very busy road and it's in very poor condition. And my concern is safety, not only for drivers, people, there's not that many houses that live in there, but anybody that rides a motorcycle or anything could have a crash and get injured. So I'm recommending we use ARP money to do that project. That's my recommendation.
I have a comment.
You may.
I agree that the road needs to be fixed. And I also agree that using the ARP money is probably the most prudent thing to do. But I want to say that I think we've kicked this can down the road long enough for the use of the other ARP funds that it's about half of it. And I see it is on the agenda tonight to talk about the American Rescue Plan. And I think we should start to get very serious about talking about in public how we're going to spend that money. And I'd like to make sure that happens tonight in conjunction with approving money for Mill Road.
Thank you for that comment. The only reason I brought it up now is because that has to be identified before we take a vote here on moving forward with that project.
Mhm.
I do fully intend to entertain discussion on the rest of the money in the old business
Yeah, right.
part of the
I'm
meeting.
good with that. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to make the motion to move forward with the project on Old Mill with using the ARP money.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Just one last comment on that. Because of the businesses and the truck traffic we've had on that road, this was scheduled to be a night project.
And that's how it was bid. They understand
The
that.
specifications.
Yes.
It was bid with that requirement. So just wanted to clarify that. And with that, that's all I have unless there's any other questions.
No, thank you, Mr. Bell.
I'll make a motion to accept the engineer's report as presented.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, our solicitor's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. There's only one item under the solicitor's report this evening, and that is the referendum resolution. Over the past year, this board has heard a lot of public comment, both for the continuation of the Holiday House pool and, as you saw tonight, against the expenditures of funds that would be necessary to ensure the viability or the continued viability of the Holiday House pool. And at your last meeting, the board discussed this and determined that the best way to make a final decision on this is to let the voters of the township have their say and put the issue on a referendum. there are only certain things that you can put on a referendum. Incurring debt is one of them. And since you would have to borrow money to be able to make the repairs necessary in the report that Mr. Livencott referred to at the last meeting, you had the opportunity to place this matter on the ballot for November. Since your last meeting, Greg has gone through the financials and determined and talked to the bank to determine what the interest rate for like a loan would be and how quickly the loan could be paid off with the longest term he could get from a bank to reduce the annual cost to residents. And he determined that the amount of the payback at the current interest rates and the 20-year payback, which was the longest he could get from any bank, that would be $129 per household. We drafted a resolution with that information in it. We have already forwarded it to the Bucks County Board of Election to make sure that the form was appropriate, that you didn't do it tonight and then had to redo it because they wanted different language used here or there. And so before you this evening for your consideration is a resolution authorizing the matter to be placed on the ballot for the November election. And the debt, then the question would be as follows. Shall debt in an amount up to $3 million for the purpose of assisting the West Rock Hill Sellersville Joint Recreation Authority refurbish and repair the Holiday House Pool Complex be authorized to be incurred as debt approved by the electors of West Rock Hill Township. And then we're also required to provide a plain English version of that. So it goes into a little bit more detail about the intentions of the board, and that plain English version reads as follows. The ballot question asks the voters of West Rock Hill Township whether the township should incur debt in an amount up to $3 million in order to assist the repair and refurbishing of the Holiday House Pool Complex. The monies borrowed would be used to refurbish and repair the pool complex, which includes not only the pools, but also may include restrooms, changing rooms, snack bars, walkways, lawn, and parking areas. The average annual township tax bill for a single-family residential dwelling in West Rock Hill Township is approximately $233. At current interest rates, the average annual increase in township taxes necessary to finance the repayment of this debt over a period of 20 years would be approximately $129 per year per residential household. These amounts are averages, and your tax increase could be more or less than $120, depending on your property assessment. A vote yes to the ballot question authorizes debt in an amount up to $3 million for the purpose of refurbishing and repairing the Holiday House Pool Complex. That is the essence of the resolution.
Mary, I just want to confirm something with you that you just said there. You read those numbers off there. That's more than a 50% increase.
Oh, I don't know. I don't do math.
No, I know, but when you said 250, go ahead.
4 mils. We're at 7.25 mils. It
Right.
would be a 4 mil increase.
Yes.
So it is more than
It is,
50%.
it is more. So that's something that everybody needs to think about. But, we've heard a lot of comments on both sides and what to do with the pool and how to fund it. We've been funding it, what we can fund it. I know there's been some efforts to fundraise, to generate revenue, but this is a huge step or a huge undertaking if it's done. Can you also elaborate, Mary, if are the supervisors locked in to do this, to go through this, if the vote was to do it?
If the voters vote to authorize the debt, the Board of Supervisors can still make a determination at a later date that it is not prudent to do that.
Okay.
Good. That was the question I had.
Okay.
And the second one I have, Mr. Livercott, do you have any idea where Sellersville is in this process? Are they going down a dual path?
I'm not sure what path they're going down. That's why we did 3 million, because the 3 the refurbishment costs 3 million total. And then that way the board has a choice of doing $3 million themselves or splitting it with Sellersville at 1.5 million. It's up to $3 million.
But having a yes on the ballot doesn't mean we're committed to doing it.
Correct.
I do want to chip in with what little of my voice is left.
You should.
That when I ran the numbers, we have approximately 2,160 parcels in West Rock Hill. My average came up to 255 for the average tax bill. So 1 mil tax increase is about $35 for the average total tax. So this would be 4 mils. So 4 times 33, 123-ish. If Sellersville Borough, because Sellersville Borough currently has tax mill, I think they're at 27. So they would be looking at
Wait a minute, where are they at? Tax millage wise?
I believe it's 27.
27 mils. Okay, thank you.
So the average, because of the different assessments, though, that would be 590 average borough tax bill total. So that's their current tax bill, and then this would add about $42 to the average yearly tax per mill. For Sellersville, it's about $42 per mill. For West Rock Hill, it's about $35 per mill. If the two went together, then it would only take 2 mills, roughly. So it'd be about $70 for West Rock Hill and about $82 for members in Sellersville Borough. And I know we did have some thoughts or discussions that if we're going to do that, then hopefully we'd be able to find a way of reimbursing members. Or like if you paid for it, we'll give you this much back off of the membership. This is historically, this is similar to the way that the pool was initially constructed. Because you don't, same thing when you go to buy a house, you have to go get a mortgage. For very few people built the $3 million project in one big shot. You get the financing and stretch it out over a couple of years, which is how the Holiday House was initially constructed. They went through a bunch of ideas, bonds and mortgages.
Can I ask you a question regarding that, though? If you're gonna do that, then what money would they use to run the pool?
That's what they did. That's what the initial setup was, that the township and the borough both leased the pool in order to generate an income that you could then go out and float to get a bond. They tried 3 or 4 different versions of this. There was a municipal bond floated, then there was a mortgage with, I think it was might have been one of the local banks floated them a mortgage. And then after, the big problem is that after the 30-year bond was paid off it started in 1969, it was built, 30-year bond was paid off, and afterwards the township and the borough no longer kept the lease, they made the contributions. So we have had for 20-something years, a small amount of money rather than the upfront amount that it takes to rehab something.
Right. And if this thing was successful, would the municipality still be responsible to fund it every year? And what would that dollar amount be if that would happen?
That I have not figured out. I just am figuring out how much it takes to fix right now.
I understand, but you still, even though you would refurbish something, you still have to run it. You still have just like last year, the year that it was closed, we still had to pay the insurance. We still had to pay the upkeep, the electric, and all those bills were still there that were responsible by the taxpayers. So I think it's important that we know.
Yep, and that is one of the things that the Joint Rec Authority has been working on and has numbers for, is what kind of membership is required as a minimum to make it a break even.
That would be, I think we've been asking for that for quite some time.
Mhm.
You know that.
What the membership needs to be break even?
I think you know what your annual expense operating pool is.
Well, sorry, let's not talk. Okay. We'll direct it through him. Okay. Thank you.
And those are all important issues, and that's why the question that was asked, whether you're required to borrow the money if the referendum passes, is an important question, because those issues when the referendum passes, if the referendum passes, can be discussed at that time, and you can determine exactly how much money to borrow and how much, what, and all of those questions, the commitment of money going forward, those are all part of how much money to borrow. But for tonight, because there are time requirements
Mhm.
in the Board of Assessment or the Board of Elections office, this is just to put the question on the ballot.
Yeah, the way that I see it after, being in real estate for a long time, the first thing you do when you're going to buy a house is you go get qualified for the maximum mortgage you can afford, and then you look for something that's less than that. So the idea here is, what's the maximum that we would have to get if we needed to do this ourselves? Look at the numbers so that we have enough room to make sure that it would work, and then hopefully we won't have to go anywhere near that much, and that's still up for debate. So this is simply approval to start looking at how else do we fund this.
I have a comment. I appreciate Mr. Dietz and your comment, and you probably speak for a lot more people than just yourself. I think that in order for us to make an informed decision, we need more information. And I think going through this exercise will give us that information that we need to make that decision. And I'm comfortable at least moving forward to putting this on the ballot to find out how the residents feel.
Well, one thing I will share the same comment. One thing I will say, this would give the opportunity for the people to say, yes, we do support something or us, or no, we don't. And that's absolutely the way these kind of issues should work. We should get it. And when we've all talked to a lot of people out there, and I will say, it has been a great effort by the Joint Rec Authority to do what they have done. But I do think it's important to find out what the entire township residents think. So I think the only way to really do this is to go through the process and see what the voters think. So, Mr. Collingwood, I think I agree with you as far as going through the process. But we're not making any commitment at this time yet, but we're going to find out what the voters do think.
Well, if there's no more discussion, I would make the motion to
2024-06.
2024-206.
No, just 2024, a resolution.
06, right? As you've read, since it's pretty lengthy, right? To approve putting this on the,
Right, to adopt resolution
right.
2024-06.
and to place it on the ballot as per our discussion.
I will second the motion.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain as the joint chair.
Oh,
You're not the joint chair.
I'm the vice chairman of the Joint Rec Authority.
Okay. Does he have to abstain?
no, he does not.
You don't have to abstain.
You don't, it's not a conflict.
Oh, we got it passed.
You
It's not a matter of whether it gets passed.
You need to make your position clear, Hal. So either you say yay or nay.
Oh, no, that wasn't my objection. I have his signature on here.
Okay.
Okay, mine's as simple as that. I can you can adopt the resolution and I can redraft it for Jay's signature. Who's vice chair?
Oh, no,
As David's
I would-
signature as vice chair.
let me reverse that. Okay, sorry.
It's all right.
No, okay, my vote is yes.
Thank you.
All right, I'll pass it down to you then.
Okay.
That is all I have for the solicitor's report this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you. And we get to the township manager's report. Mr. Lippincott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item is we have a request from a resident to get the speed limit changed on Ridge Valley Road. Ridge Valley Road is a state road. They will not consider changing the speed limit unless there's a speed study done. PennDOT will do a speed study, however, it must be authorized by the township. So I'm seeking a motion from the township supervisors, authorizing a letter to be written to PennDOT to get a speed survey done.
I have a comment. I'm not sure that, and we can go through that process. Not sure if it's going to change anything, and even if it does, the speed limit is 40 miles an hour on that road, and I don't know where this person lives that made the request, but it's 15 on that curve at Tower Road, because I know we've had a lot of complaints about people coming out of Tower Road and not being able to get onto Ridge Valley. At Forest, it's 25 and 30, and then these first couple curves out here, it's 15, so it's a multiple speed limit, so I guess it's the 40 that
I'm
they.
sorry, I just want to correct you.
Go ahead.
That's recommended. That's not the actual speed limit. That is on the numbers that you're referring to, that the speed limit's 40, David.
Right, all the way through.
Yep. The numbers that you're referring to are only recommendation.
That's
They,
fair.
they cannot,
Right.
they cannot hold somebody accountable for that.
But even if we we can do this recommendation, but in my experience, they can make it 35, they can make it 25. No one's going to pay any attention to it. But it's probably worth the effort to address the concerns of the citizens. I just wanted to, I've driven the road to see exactly what the speed limits were.
Well, I will also share, I've had some comments from some residents, identifying issues where trucks and cars have gone off the road there, okay? Where you see the blacktop is actually broken off or grooved this is the same concern as I have out here at Ridge Road with where Hal was talking about, and also another spot. I would like to see PennDOT stabilize the shoulder at those spots. Clearly identify, all you got to do is drive down there and see where the groove marks are, where somebody left the road. There should be ballast or something put along the road there. So that doesn't happen. It is a very wet area. It's basically a swamp.
Yep.
Through there. However, I do agree that it won't hurt by doing a speed study. That would be great to do that, if we can get something done. We also have the same issue with Allentown Road, as we all have listened to people comment, including an older gentleman here last month, talking about the dump trucks running the Jake brakes down through there. That road also is at 40 miles an hour. I don't know if any of you have ever tried to drive 40 miles an hour up through that S-turn and up over past the campground. That's very difficult and unsafe to drive 40 miles an hour in a car. So there are issues there as well. And that has 2-foot ditches on the side that are drop-offs. I think it's worthwhile pointing out the areas to PennDOT that need stabilization. As
I can
well as,
include that in the letter.
if David, are you making a motion?
I was going to make a motion to have Greg write a letter to PennDOT requesting a speed limit reduction for Ridge Valley Road.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yep. I would just add in after the fact that, yes, I agree. A member last winter stopping in and seeing our post lady, going to ask, how are the roads? And she got further around the corner and she's in the ditch and there's the tow truck there pulling her out.
Right.
Okay, well, I don't need to answer that. Okay.
The next item is, I'm seeking authorization for legal enforcement on tax map parcel 52-9-125. I sent 2 friendly letters to the property owner. The parking lot put up a fence without a permit. Also storing materials on the property. This is on Bethlehem Pike. The response from the property owner is in there. I would like to get the township solicitor involved in this matter, so I would seek the board's authorization to get the township solicitor involved.
I'd make that motion.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The last item, which is not on the agenda, is the mic is broken. This wasn't a part of our original setup. The new mic's ordered, and as soon as it comes in, it will be installed. So,
Great.
that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
I will make a motion to approve the township manager's report as given.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving along. Our next section is old business. Turstein.
In your packet is the information, from Durstein's. You requested more information. Mr. Durstein was kind enough to give you that information. I believe he's here if you have any questions.
My concern is the same as it was last month, that our citizens want open space. They want quality of life. They don't want warehouses. They don't want this development. I mean, it has to be somewhat mitigated. It has to be tempered. I'll use that word instead. And given that, as I said last month, that this is one of the best alfalfa fields in the township, I mean, I just hate to see it lost. So I'm not in favor of assisting in the continued decline of property or open space in this township.
I'll give you my view on this, Mr. Durstein. I do support your business. However, I don't believe that it's in the best interest of the township to give a 40% tax cut or break. This isn't a dilapidated building where you're trying to revitalize something that has fallen apart or is falling apart. This is a farm field that's here now. If you proceed forward with your business, that's great. Well, I welcome it. However, I don't believe it's in the best interest of the citizens of the township to give that kind of a tax break. I'm basing my opinion on what I have seen and the fact that it is not a dilapidated building like the one that was identified as the old Del Bar project down in Percy.
Right.
So if you do move forward, I think it's with what you want to do with your business. That's my opinion.
And, excuse me, and I've also looked over the numbers and the estimates. And I understand that, yes, we do need to bring in businesses, but the amount that West Rock Hill would be contributing for the LERTA for a multi-million-dollar project is relatively small. I know that overall the school district funding and the county funding, which are significantly more, but if we're looking at, a difference of 54,000 to the bottom line based on what we say, that's seems like that's a rounding error when you're putting in 25 million in improvements. I know that goes on forever, and that's the difference between the ground itself. This is simply the new improvements, but I know that we have to be the first ones to come in, having not heard. And I know that we've heard somewhat that the school district seems to be okay. I'm not sure if I remember reading from Bucks County, but I think we have a majority of the board already.
You still can voice your opinion, Hal.
Yeah. No, I know. But I don't see this as being a huge factor for developing something this big, unless I'm misreading the total numbers.
It helps.
And every bit helps. I understand.
20 years in this township, we've been paying taxes. I appreciate your help. I appreciate you taking my request seriously. Can't do it, I get it, but every little bit helps.
Okay, do we need a motion?
No, it would die for lack of a.
Okay. Well, then I will entertain a motion. No motion being proffered. We move on. Thank you for your time, though. We will see if we can find other ways of helping out. Next order of business. Old business is
American Rescue Fund plan discussions. It's something that's been on the agenda a couple times. We discussed it back in October 22nd of 2022. Ideas have been kicked around. I didn't know if people would wanted to discuss anything tonight.
I think we should.
I agree, definitely. I mean, we've talked about Old Mill Road, which has been taken care of. We've talked in the past about the fire companies. We've talked about the hospital. We've talked about
Please.
Penridge Community Center or the police department and exterior upgrades to the township property across the street.
Which we can refer to as the James House,
Fine.
for this purpose.
Yes,
So that the citizens
absolutely.
all know that.
Yep.
It has been changed. They do call it now the Heritage House, but for everybody that knows, the house across the street is really the James House. There has been requests for, fixing up the outside. If any of you have noticed, the stucco is falling off and it's becoming a problem. And with the township owning that house, I feel that we have to do something to preserve that house. We have not done the upgrades and the improvements inside. The Historical Society has done all that. But as far as the outside of the house goes, we have to maintain that house because we're going to keep that house in this park. And every year, the township has a 5-year renewal lease with the Historical Society. Am I correct in saying that, Greg?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
So I just want to make sure everybody's aware that we do own that house, and ultimately we are responsible for the structure and the house being there, if we're going to keep it. If we're not going to keep it, then we would knock it down, which we didn't do. So I do believe that there should be effort to move forward with refurbishing the outside of that stucco, whether that comes to whatever. And I do believe that in that effort, it may have to go out for bid. Am I correct in stating that?
Correct. You would have to go out to bid. You would have to authorize the township to go out to bid. That we would go out with bid and then we would get a price, and then it would be up to the determination of the Board of Supervisors if they want to go through with it, similar to what you did for Old Mill Road.
So can I ask the question, how would we, because you only have a certain amount of time to spend this money, this ARP money, or allocate it?
You have to allocate it by December 31st.
So, how does that happen? How could we do that?
What you could do is authorize the township to go out to bid
Okay.
to the repairs that are needed on the exterior. We would go out and get the bids, and then the board would then either authorize the repairs. So it's the same thing we did for Old Mill Road. And then
Okay.
you would make a motion to go ahead
Before December 31st.
before December 31st. You don't have to spend the money before December 31st, but you have to authorize the expenditure before December 31st
For exterior upgrades.
for the exterior upgrades.
Yeah, well, I just want to say this wearing my supervisor's hat. I think the park is the crown jewel of the township. And I think that anyone who drives past the park, you got this wart, which is the exterior of the James House. And I just think I'm obviously think it should be taken care of. For the park. Polish the crown jewel.
Well, we are essentially the landlords for the Historical Society. And when something large like that breaks, then you're the ones who are responsible for fixing it. Just looking back, it's actually 34 years ago, I ended up repainting our old farmhouse with very much the same situation where plaster is coming off and clay and horsehair doesn't hold up too much longer. And you can only keep whitewashing it for so long before you have to redo the whole thing.
Correct. Okay, so do we need to do that? Do we need to put that in a form of,
Yep.
Okay,
You authorize the township manager to go out to bid. for
To
the-
draft specifications and solicit bids for the improvements to the
Exterior.
of the James House, for the Heritage House.
okay. So Sherry, if you have that wording correct from Mary, I would make that motion that we move forward with that.
I will second the motion.
And that money would be coming out of the ARP money when we do decide to, if we decide to go through it.
If you decide to do it
depending-
before December 31st.
Yes, okay. Want to make that clear.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any amendments? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next to new business, I have none.
Do we have,
We're going to continue to have discussions on the rest of the money and the rest of the people who have made
Yep, sorry.
requests.
request? Yes.
Yes,
Right.
Okay.
should make, sorry,
I
I should
think
make that
that-
clear.
The ones we talked about tonight are time sensitive.
Time sensitive. Yes. Yes. Very good. Thank you.
I have a question. I don't know if it's new business or old business. What's the status of our backhoe, the new backhoe?
It's ordered.
Ordered. When do we get, when's it coming?
I'm not sure. So,
Before the snow?
hopefully, the end of the year, hopefully.
Okay. All I have.
I have no other business.
Are you on old business right now, Dave?
I was
That
on old
was-
business and
yes, okay.
backhoe was kind of like on the fence.
Are we on new business yet?
Yep, I believe we are.
Okay, I have a new business thing. I would like to send a letter to PennDOT regarding Allentown Road and the speed limit that is posted there. Okay? And identify issues where vehicles have left the road. It doesn't take much to go look and see where the grooved blacktop is and where the blacktop is caved off the sides. A lot of these issues, the blacktop is eroding because there's debris in the ditches that aren't cleaned out. And then the flooding and stuff we have makes the water rush, and then all of a sudden you got undermining, and then the blacktop caves off. You can drive around the township and see it almost anywhere, anybody that drives the township. I do think that there should be more effort from PennDOT to clean the ditches on state roads. Ridge Valley and Allentown are prime examples of roads that I don't think get the attention they should. Thank you.
So I guess we need a motion for that then. We did for Ridge Valley.
Yes, for the speed study. yeah.
I'm making that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
I have nothing else for new business. Other than I do think that did you announce we were going to have an executive session to discuss some real estate?
No, I did not.
Okay, I would like to request
That's
that.
yep, new business. We are having an executive session over real estate following this. There shouldn't be any other new business.
We have none.
Okay. Up to public comment, last of the night. Oh, Mr. Krauthamel?
Yes, Don Krauthamel with the Joint Rec Authority. I really just have 2 points to make. A question had been asked. What would the township's ongoing costs to actually operate the pool would be? And I said that I think you know that because your commission that or the study that you commissioned, the marketing study, stated that normally a pool can be expected to recover approximately 75% of its operating costs. So our budget this year is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $230,000 is my guess. So 25% of that split between the township and Sellersville would give you your approximate operating costs. The only other comment I would make, I understand your desire to get feedback from your residents as to their position on continued support of the pool. I completely understand that. I think it's probably a good idea. My only concern is I don't think it's a good idea to ask people to approve money, especially a tax increase, when you can't tell them precisely what that money is going to be used for. I don't think it's a good idea to simply request money until you know exactly how you're going to spend it. We're talking about up to $3 million. we don't really know what $3 million is going to do. We don't know how we want to phase those costs, those improvements. I think a better plan would have been to have completed a real feasibility study that would have given you a hard number, would have given you a strategy as to how that could be accomplished over a phased period of time, would have given you recommendations as to how to pay for it, and could have also been used to apply for additional grant money. The $14,000 that you spent on the marketing study, with probably an additional $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, could have funded a complete feasibility study that would have
2.5 minutes are up.
satisfied DCNR. Thank you.
Thank you. More public comment? Oh, I think she had, no.
Just to talk about Allentown Ridge Valley Road, Greg.
Name.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin Dietz, 1420 Ridge Valley Road. Greg, if you could call me, you are talking about the storm ditches. I can tell you the pipe that runs underneath Allentown Road and Ridge Valley Road that goes to 1422, which is right on the corner. That pipe is collapsed. The road is starting to collapse right on the corner before it even goes downtown road. So I'll go and show you. The trash truck goes in there. It's going to end up taking their corner property away. Okay. The other thing is I just want another thing too about the pool is that we have talked about this because I was chairman and we've talked about this in private and everything else. I believe that you guys should go back to when this charter came about and actually you guys, either the borough or the township, takes this one singly, goes to a park and recs and let the other one phase out. You can do that as a charter or give it back to a church or donate it to a church and let them run it. You know how it all reads, how it reads. I read it and that's the way I think it should be. This going back and forth for $3 million. First of all, you guys should be responsible for what gets done at that pool if it does go through, not the Joint Rec Authority. They are just a volunteer. You guys are the ones that are saying, okay, we're going to spend this for the township residents. You and the borough should be the ones spending the money, not the volunteers. Okay, so that's my comment. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Cheryl Kagasi, 7 Augustine Road. My concern is right out here on Ridge Road, at Almont, Augustine Road, from Lawn Avenue out to here. Can PennDOT do a speed study on here because people use this as a drag strip. I cross the street to go to my neighbor, Mrs. Miller, who's 93, or I try to cross Ridge Road to go over to the park. People don't slow up. And when I'm weed whacking on the ridge, people don't slow down. This is pathetic how fast people go by here, and I never see any police giving speeding tickets. Something's got to be done here. I mean, on the weekends, they are drag racing on here from either Ridge Valley. They pull out from Ridge Valley. You hear the tires squealing, flying out here. And it's crazy. I want to know if something can be done.
I think the speed limit out there is 30 miles an hour. They're 35. We can make sure there's more enforcement out there.
I'm sorry.
We can make sure the police has more enforcement out there.
The other thing too is like right here in front of Transuse. Those trucks are always getting stuck there. And why isn't something being done there as well?
I will share with you, Miss Kagasi, that we have had a speed study done recently when the accident happened out here at Fasasio's.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I will share also with you, I've been working in the park with my grandson over the past couple months, and I know that we have had a car over here at the park. I don't believe that the speed study showed excessive speeds and I believe Chief, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this board put up right over here? The speed board?
So here's the thing with Ridge Road. We have done speed studies out on Ridge Road around the project for not skiing seven speeds. Now, as you said, you put a speed board there, so that.
Yep.
I understand. The other side of that too is what we have to understand is that we did reach out to PennDOT. Greg and I had a meeting with PennDOT, and that's supposed to do a speed study out here on Ridge Road. I don't know what the status of that is. I know they were looking to do it when it was not during holiday weekend.
No, they're also doing added signage because of all the trucks going off the road. PennDOT is going to do added signage, but it most likely will not be done until the late fall of this year. They'll be putting up more signage for the curves and the shoulders and whatnot.
I mean, there's two other people that live on Augustine Road too. And when we're making that left-hand turn onto the road, onto Augustine Road, I tell you, I look at my rearview mirror. So they come around the corner. I almost got nailed the other week. And I thought, this is unbelievable because people don't slow down. And I'm just saying, I wish something could get done because this is bad out here. I see it. I sit in my living room and I watch these cars and these trucks, and especially when I'm weed whacking. I've already wanted just to throw the weed whacker at these. And I no, I'm serious because when I'm out there, they don't care. And I'm on the road doing this. So I'm just putting that out there that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's pouring, the storm's here. I'll make this quick. Either that or Mary knew I was coming. So Jay, you hit two of the things that I want to comment on. I'm going to follow up on that one first.
Get a name?
I'm sorry, Brian Landis, 125 Augustine. So if you come crossover lawn on Ridge, there's not a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign until you get to the park. And then it immediately drops to 45. So nobody knows that it drops from 45 to 35 all the way through here because there's no signs. I think there used to be, but I think they got snow plowed out. Going this way, there's two. So I had gone back and forth with Greg a couple years ago because it's a state road, but if it's 35 and under, it's our responsibility or we can put it up. We also have, according to Stats Office, we can drop it to 25 if we want to as a township, with having a school on one, well, this is what his office told me, Greg. So I'm refuted but if you have a park on one side and a school on the other, it might be a good idea because 25 might get them to drop to 45. And I will also say, because I think I'm an average guy, and if I think this way, most people do also. If you put an empty police car out here, it slows you down the first time. And it's the same 7,400 cars that pass through here every day. And we all know the security car on one side's empty. We all know the cop car on the other side's empty, and they keep flying. So that was just, I think it would be a good idea. I think the reason is, because I had talked to the chief about this the last time, is you can't pull them over out here if they think it's 45. If there's no way to, if they don't know it's 35, you can't give them a ticket because they don't know it's 35 until it just gets to 45. So we should probably add some speed limit signs. The other thing you brought up was the water, how it erodes the roads. Before we do Augustine, there's probably 4 or 5 places that the water runs out onto the road. So I don't know, the last time we dug a ditch out, we exposed all the dirt and all the stones ended up in front of my house, which I don't know if there's a better way to do it. But if we're going to put the money into a road, we ought to take a look at how do we improve the ditches to make sure whatever we invest stays. But you had made that comment about the water.
We did address that last month, actually.
Okay.
And actually, there was a gentleman that sat here that they replaced his pipe. He replaced his pipe.
So it's not the pipe. There's just some low spots that it just does, it can't handle the water and it comes out onto the road just because the ditch isn't deep enough. There's probably 4 places. One's in front of my house and I dug it out. And what happens is the water washes it and my yard falls in and fills it back up. So I don't know if you guys have a recommendation for like River Rock or whatever, but there's a couple places where it just pushes it right back out and then it just runs down the road. So that was it. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Brian.
Oh.
I just have never had so much company.
Wow.
Suzanne Clark. My question is that money's at the rescue money, ARP money. What was that originally given to the municipality for?
It's COVID relief. for the
Okay,
town.
so it should be a reflection of relief from the COVID event, correct?
In the beginning, it started out like that. And then there were certain things that municipalities could use the money for. But as the federal regulations evolved over the last 3 or 4 years, it's basically any governmental function.
Oh, so it has nothing to do with COVID relief anymore?
No, we can use it for any.
I was gonna say, because why don't, to me, it would make sense to use it to affect the problems with our municipality that needs money for the COVID problems. I mean, like our senior center, they lost all that income, the pool lost all that income. I mean, those are the functions I think you should be giving the money to.
The township has a long list and those items were discussed.
Working on it.
We're working.
So just keep those in mind, because that's the ones that affecting all of us. I mean, doing a road, which I think is very, very important. However, I will personally never ride on that road because there would be no reason for me to drive down that road. So it's not going to help me personally. But I'm just saying, you got to spread it around. You know, we're not just made up of roads.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comment? As we're all waiting for the rain to stop so we can get to our cars because nobody brought an umbrella.
Might as well make public comment.
Regards to the 1,000-acre road, as far as repaving it, across from 401, the road has sunk, I'd say 3 or 4 inches. There's a spot approximately that big. It's kind of on the edge of the road.
This is
The,
post office box number, right?
pardon?
401.
411.
But that is the address, right?
Yes, right. It's Pam Dietz's house. It's right across the street from her driveway. It's been there and it's gotten worse over the years. What? I don't know. The second one is right below Jim Karcher's 420 1,000-acre road. There was a cross drain replaced there, I believe it was last summer or maybe 2 years ago. Well, about 50 feet below it towards my house at 521, there's another large size cross drain and the road has sunk. The road crew came out, put about 3 inches of hot material in, so there's not a bump there. Well, evidently the pipe has dropped and it's rotting out. It needs to be replaced. And my other concern is the box culvert down between 625 and 605. On the edge of the road to the box culvert has dropped, I'd say approximately 2.5 inches, 2 inches. Again, the road crew filled it in with blacktop. It's a patch. I mean, if you're going to spend the money to blacktop that road, I mean, these things need to be addressed. I walk up and down that road all week. Allentown Road, Ridge Road. Jim Miller does the same thing. There's different ones. And I know, and I've seen over the years, I've lived over there 25 years. My wife's lived there over 40 years. And I've seen the condition of the road and what has been done and what hasn't been done. And my other thing is why, if I have to clean my culvert pipe, why doesn't the Game Commission have to clean their culvert pipes? It's all blocked up. I mean, I don't feel they're exempt, and all the dead trees that's on the state ground there, something should be done about that. Thank you.
Hey, Chief.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Jerry Gretzi, Telford Fire Company. I'd just like to make your residents aware that for the past 12 to 15 years, all 4 fire companies that serve your residents have received the same amount of funding. We had a fire panel meeting at the beginning of this year or at the end of last year, And all four fire companies made you aware that we are low on volunteers. We cannot continue to do fundraising. And your response was that you would advertise our fundraising and there was no tax increase. You didn't not want any tax increase. I think your residents should be aware that to pay a fire company, your tax increase is going to be humongous. And the volunteers are doing their absolute best. We now run dual response with Tylersport coming into West Rock Hill. So the West Rock Hill residents are covered. And they have two companies responding on boxes. And I think if your residents are in agreement to do anything with the pool, they should also be aware that the fire companies are volunteer and absolutely need more funding from each one of the communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
That might be, I know we have the map showing the service areas for the fire companies. That might be something to put in the newsletter, just so that people know who their fire company is, who's responding to your house. Most people think there's a fire company, but we actually do have service areas where each one of the fire companies is primarily responsible. They all match, but
Is that something that can be done, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
any other public comment? Going once, going twice, going three times. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming out.
I'll make a motion. We adjourn into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.